Hello there everybody, Sam Strains here, welcome back to the Railway and welcome to another review. Right, I've been on AliExpress again. Well no, I haven't, somebody has, I'm not sure who, somebody's been on AliExpress. And so today's loco stands a very, very good chance of being incredibly cheap and nasty, and no doubt you know exactly what that means.
I search for cheap trains, sometimes I review. It's El Cheapo. Because the children on Twitter say the old me wasn't allowed. Comment below if you agree. I wonder if Sam owns a top hat.
Oh my god, I need a top hat, quickly, everybody's waiting. Oh, I'm gonna fix this ridiculous hat. Cut this bally thing off. Oh, that moustache, that horrible offensive moustache, cut that down. Top hat, yes, top hat, stick that on sellotape. Okay, good, ready to go, ready to go. So today's locomotive cost me $58, which roughly translates to £44. And while the listing on AliExpress absolutely makes this look incredibly cheap and nasty, but actually if you think about it, 44 quid for a basic 040 tender engine, or what I expect will be a basic one, isn't really that cheap, so we'll have to see how we go. Anyway, several weeks later, the package arrived, and here is its box. I kid you not, this is not the outer box, there isn't a nicer box inside. This is the box that the loco came in. So what is today's locomotive, I hear you ask? Well, that's a good question. And fortunately, the good people of AliExpress have given us an answer to that. They've given us a very, very good description, a good title as to what this locomotive is. So are you ready? Just prepare myself here. Here we go. So it is an HO 187 scale model German initial European steam locomotive train for diorama architecture railway landscape layout kits. There we are, so that's exactly what this locomotive is. Incidentally, I have no idea whatsoever what that locomotive is. Your guess is literally as good as mine. I'm going to try and Google the running number if there is one on the side of the loco. You can't really see on the AliExpress website, so it really is a mystery right now. So let's find out what this is like and figure out whether it's any good at all. So amongst the utter verbal diarrhea that was the product title for this, I did spy the word European, which means this is probably not an American loco inside here. If I had to take a complete guess, I would guess German. Again, if you know any better than that, please do let me know. But for now, I'm a bit scared to, but I'm going to insert my hand into this box. Will my fingers be bitten off? It's very possible, but we have to find out what this thing is like. So I can see that the tender is on top, so we will start with that. And let's figure out what this thing is going to be like. Like I say, if it is very, very basic, £44 isn't really that cheap for this. But there is the tender, and actually, seeing this tender fills me with a little bit of hope. It doesn't look too bad. We've got one or two nice features, clearly a NEM coupling on the back, which is great, I can exchange that. Metal wheels, no pickups on them or anything like that, but certainly metal wheels. And also evidence of polystyrene all over it, as you can see, which is strange because none of the packaging was polystyrene. So has this been taken out of a different box and just packaged up like this to send to me? I do not know. Anyway, we'll take a closer look at that shortly. Now we'll look at the part we're all interested in though, or possibly all frightened to find out about. It is the loco. And that is literally everything that's in the box, by the way. I don't have any instructions or anything. Not that I think there's much to say. All right. Well, there it is. What can I say about this? Well, there are some numbers on the side. I'm fairly sure if I search those, they're not going to come up with anything, but maybe I could look at that. Okay, so the first word that comes to mind is plastic. The second word is horrible. Look at the gears. You've got this gigantic gear between two of the driving wheels there. That looks pretty shoddy. We've got plastic connecting rods, which don't use the sort of valve gear assembly, which is just redundant. I can see the pickups, which just touch the top of the flange by the looks of it, which is really odd. The loco itself doesn't look that great. It's basically just a moulded piece, I would say. Wonky buffers, very little decoration. Like I say though, there is a running number, so maybe I will be able to find out what this is, if it is based on anything in real life, although I highly doubt it. And there is the tender, which doesn't couple particularly closely. Yeah, I don't know. At this point, it's unclear whether this was actually worth £44. I would say this is a little bit on the cheap and nasty side, to say the very least. Yeah, considering how much this cost. But maybe this will run like an absolute dream I'm sure it's going to. Right, well, I can't give you some history on this because I have no clue what it is, but I will put it into my phone, see what comes up, and then we'll take a look at some of the details, or lack thereof. All right, let's try. I'd be lying if I said my expectations were in any way high for this. And don't get me wrong, the price is maybe just about right, but I have to admit I was expecting a little bit better when I ordered this, because as you can see, it's not very nice. I think that's putting it mildly. We'll talk about why it's not very nice in just a second, if it wasn't blindingly obvious already. But let's take a look at the side of the cab, because it does reveal, and I say this very tenuously, it does reveal a little bit about the loco. So you can see the logo at the top there says PKP on it, which I think means Polish State Railways. Is this loco Polish? I wouldn't bet on it, but that's a good indication that maybe it is. And then the running number, get this, is OI 229. And when I googled OI 229, this came up. Yes, doesn't look like the model, so pardon me if I'm not entirely convinced by that. And that brings us on to the model. Well, there it is, folks, up close and personal. What a treat for the eyes. Okay, well, let's start the list, shall we, of what isn't very nice about this. Well, the wheel set is an obvious one. As you can see, we have the axles poking through unpainted. That's the least of it, though, isn't it, really? We don't have any coupling rods, which means this is a 2-0 locomotive, technically speaking, although the front wheels here are driven on the model. It's just in real life, if this thing existed, they would not be driven, which is pretty bizarre. As I've already mentioned, you have the connecting rod here, which is just a very, very flimsy plastic piece, and it doesn't use the sort of slider support structure here, even though it's fitted to the model, which is a bit strange. The model itself, I shouldn't be calling this a model. The tat itself is reasonably nicely moulded, actually. As you can see, there are lots of moulded details on here. Some of them quite nicely moulded, actually. It's not terrible. We've seen worse from Bachmann, and they should know better. However, there is this horrible sort of parting line, which is very, very obvious right across the top there. There's very, very little decoration to speak of, and the separately fitted parts that are present do not wish to remain separately fitted to the model. As you can see, if I just tug on this buffer very slightly, it comes straight out. Now, I can't blame the buffers for not wanting to be a part of this model. However, they shouldn't have the right to decide that. That should be my decision, although I guess I pulled it out. What am I talking about? The smoke box door area sort of gives the illusion of detail through its moulding, but it is all just exactly that, pure moulding. Anyway, we've got a cab. I'll say we've got a cab. The cab makes literally no sense because there's this sort of literal black wall at the back of the cab, which means there's no way for the coal to get into the cab and no way for a driver or fireman to get into the cab either to access the controls, unless the controls are on that black plate in real life, which begs the question as to why the cab exists, because no one could get in it. And there's certainly nothing inside it on the model because, as you can see, there's a 3-pole motor inside there. I'm assuming that's a 3-pole motor. Let's be honest, given the quality of the rest of the model, it ain't going to be a 5-poler, is it? One interesting thing is we do have space for some of those NAF buffers to be fitted to the back of the loco, and we could test this because of how easy it is to take out the buffers. So let's see if they actually fit in on the back. Yes, they do. So what, was this not designed as a tender loco? There's no coal on board the actual loco itself, so I don't see how it can have been, and indeed the tender does not fit on properly with those buffers fitted. So was that just a massive design flaw and they just had to not fit the buffers? I don't know, I really don't know. I would say I would check on the prototype and see if that offers any answers, but since the prototype looks like this and is entirely different from the loco, I'm not saying that it's the prototype, by the way, they might have just pinched the running number, or perhaps what came up on Google wasn't the right thing. But either way, yeah, there's no hope of checking that, is there? Right, well, I think that basically sums up the loco, doesn't it, more or less? And here's a shot of the nice big gear, just in case you wanted your day to be ruined even more. With that, let's move on to the tender, which is nowhere near as bad. This is why I think the loco might not have been designed for this tender, or vice versa, because the tender is much, much better, it's much nicer. So the moulding is a lot better. There's no sort of nasty parting lines or anything like that. The moulding is actually quite nice. The underframe looks pretty good, I would say. You've got a fairly nice looking coal load, which just reminds me of the sort of Hornby Railroad coal loads, or the old ones from the 80s or something. Yeah, but it's not too bad, it's not too bad. The buffers, look, the buffers are much better. They're not sprung or anything, obviously. I mean, this came from AliExpress. I don't think sprung buffers exist on AliExpress. And again, you've got the NEM coupling. So, okay, look at this coupling, NEM, reasonably good quality. Look at the coupling on the Loco. They don't match. And yes, it was entirely bent when I first got this out of the box, and I had to straighten it because it wasn't in a proper box. But otherwise, yeah, the tender's nice. Nice metal wheels, as you can see, and you've got some nice moulded detail around the back, including a toolbox there. So I probably don't need to do a section on the mechanism on this Loco. It seems incredibly redundant at this point, but I will get some shots of it and I will assess it and try and give it a score out of 5. You can tell why I'm laughing. And then I guess we'll give it a test, and that will be interesting. I will actually be fascinated to see how this works. I mean, it's got a mechanism fit for an electric bicycle, so it ought to be able to run this little thing okay. So let's give it a try. Okay, there it is, down onto the track. Oh, looks nice, doesn't it? So the mechanism is basically exactly as you'd expect it to be, and by that I mean not very good. The weight, Loco and tender is, sorry I'm laughing because it is that ludicrous, the weight, Loco and tender is literally 156 grams due to the fact that the construction is largely made of plastic, particularly where the body's concerned. The Rapido J70, which is a puny Loco without a tender, weighs more than this. That is insane. Obviously, we have no proper bearings on the wheel set, and unlike Bachmann and Helgen, who also make their Locos shoddy in that regard, they haven't even bothered to cover the fact up because there's no base keeper plate or anything like that. And as you can see, the underside is all gears. Why are there so many gears? It is gear sanity underneath there. And I don't really know whether it's a 3 or 5 pole motor, but I think we can all have a pretty good guess. Gonna be 3 pole, isn't it? We don't have any tender pickups whatsoever. In fact, there's no electrical connection between the Loco and tender in any way. Forget DCC, I'm fairly sure there won't be a socket inside there. And the pickups, as I've already noted on the Loco, are very strange. They're done through the flanges, the top of the flanges. Never ever seen that before. We will find out though whether or not it's going to work well. So make a prediction and put it in the comments, pause the video. Is it going to be a good runner? Is it going to be a good runner? I really don't know, because often I find when the Locos have an incredibly poor mechanism and they can't do any other than run absolutely terribly, they sometimes do surprise me and run really well. So I'm going to predict that this is going to be a superb runner, better than the Hornby Peckett's, best Loco I've ever seen running. Am I being facetious? Yes, I am. Right, turning it up. Here we go. I'm turning it up. Oh. It's not better than the Peckett's, but it's not terrible. I mean, it hasn't yet been run in, and I know it's an insult to better models to run this in and assume that it's going to be better afterwards, but actually out of the box I have to be quite honest and fair and say that that is actually not too bad at all. See what I mean? Oh no, it stalled. Forget everything I've just said. There we are, that's done it. Okay, but smoothness is not bad at all. It makes me wonder whether if I did put a 5-pole motor in, that's stalled. This video is going to get obnoxious, it's just going to be me slamming. Alright, so it doesn't sound particularly happy. It's just gone over the express point without cutting out, which is good. Yeah, that is not terrible. The speed, let's put it up to 50. Yeah, the speed's reasonably competent, if a little bit speedy. Yeah, I mean, that is really not too bad. I knew it. I didn't know it. But yeah, at least the performance sort of redeems it. I know nothing of the pulling power or anything like that. Let's just try the slow crawl one more time before I do run it in, just so that we've got it on record. Turning up, turning up, turning up, turning up, turning up, turning up, turning up. I'm at, let's see, I'm at 20% and it's not yet come on. It's starting to though. There we are. Oh, a bit slower. Yeah, so it's not a crawler. Actually, that is very much not a crawler. There we go. I'm no longer touching the controller. Wow. Now let's just swap it into reverse. Yeah, it's just as bad in reverse, as you can see. I believe it's now cut out. Turn it up a bit. Oh, there we go. Right, running in, let it commence, 50% speed, here we go. Yeah, actually, despite all the gearing, it is looking a little bit like a pocket rocket. The speed of the loco itself isn't too bad at all, but the speed at which the wheels are spinning definitely makes it look a little bit dodgy, doesn't it? So yeah, despite the ridiculous number of gears and the ridiculous size of some of the gears, the speed isn't particularly good. I had expected this to run a little bit more slowly and in a more controlled manner, but sadly that's not really the case. But never mind, the performance is far better than I expected it to be. And let's see how it is in an hour or so, once this has had a good chance to run in, shall we? Well, that 45 minutes was the most terrible 45 minutes I think I've ever existed through. Not because it runs badly or anything like that, but just because of the extraordinary noise this thing makes as it runs along. It is infuriating. It's like a death rattle. Listen to this. It is incredibly annoying. It goes on and on and on like that. It made me want to sling my hammer into it, honestly. So annoying. I think it's the tender that does it. But yeah, it just rattles. Sounds like the tender's full of bones or something. Absolutely dreadful. Anyway, the actual performance itself, when I could actually move past the noise and look at the performance, was fine. It wasn't derailing or anything like that. And it does seem to be quite smooth. The pulling power is pants. It has a tractive effort of 0.13 newtons, which is enough for 11 coaches on straight and level track, but on curves and gradients it will be much less than that. So we've got that to look forward to. I've set up some wagons, as you can see, for it to try and haul. For now though, let's see if the slow speed performance is any better. I doubt it, but we will see. Here we go, turning up right now. And a bit more. Yeah, maybe that is a bit smoother, actually. I mean, I don't normally knock off a point for noise, but this one is definitely losing a point for the noise because it makes you want to murder somebody, and I don't think model trains are really supposed to do that. But otherwise, if it wasn't for that, I would probably be giving this a solid 4, because that's not bad. I mean, it shouldn't be bad for what I paid, because it is actually a little bit pricey for what I paid. But for £44, a tender loco, it's not too bad. The performance is fine. And it is fine on express points as well, by the way. Gets over them without cutting out, which is great. Okay, let's couple up to the wagons then and see how we get on with those, shall we? Hopefully the coupling will engage as it should. We are. If I keep the speed to a minimum, it doesn't make the death rattle sound. Right, did it work? No. Let's try a bit more. Did it work? No. Let's go like full speed, see what happens. That's a no, and it also ejected the final 2 wagons from the train as well, which is interesting. Right, let me get it back on and we'll couple it by hand. Coupling by hand, trying to contain the anger as it wells up inside me. Okay, so they get to there, and then the sort of wagons start pushing back. Now, the wagon couplings are fine because everything else couples okay to them. So is it the loco? Let me actually push them together with some considerable force. Well, not too much. Ah, okay. Right, so yeah, the couplings are not very good. They don't really work. But can the loco haul this small train of, I'll make it 7 wagons. Let's find out. Set it forwards and let's have a nice gentle start if possible. Okay. Yeah, I like the performance. Yeah, it's actually quite nice. There we go. Oh, there's that noise again. So today's theme is horrible locos. Every loco you see in this video is horrible in my opinion, except one. One of them looks horrible but actually isn't. Anyone that can correctly identify which one that is in the video will get a hand-signed certificate from me to certify that the owner of the certificate has good taste in model railway design. There we are. So anyway, yeah, that was the Mahano train set loco. A horrible model, absolutely horrible. And then on the third line we have both the most horrible loco of them all and the most expensive paperweight I've ever purchased. It is the Helgen 1361, which has developed a kind of spasm as it runs. The back end twitches really strangely. Quite like it though. It makes the loco look like it's suffering, and that brings me joy. Anyway, enjoy the running session. This is getting dark, isn't it? Let's see how everything gets on. And I'm going to count the number of seconds before the 1361 gives up on us. Are you ready? 1, 2, 3, 4 seconds. That's somewhat of a record. Well done, 1361. On the plus side, the weather has cooled off a little bit now, which has corrected the expansion in the chassis, and so the wheels can turn again now, which is quite nice. Back to the order of business though, I mean, as horrible as this thing is, and my god, it is horrible, it is fit for purpose. It works, it doesn't cut out all the time, despite only having 4 very poor pickups, and it's hauling this train without any problems. So, it is fit for purpose, despite all odds. One day, folks. One day. And don't forget, it's not just Helgen's £150 tank engines that cut out. The £11 Mahanos do it as well. Oh, for goodness sake, get out the way. Oh, it's totally dead now. Look at this. It's had it. Well, I always think it's had it, and I just twist it, and it works again. Not in this case, apparently. Wow. Is it done? I can feel it vibrating. I think it's done, folks. It's finally died. Come on, I can't believe it will be dead already. I think its wheels have locked up, have they? Hang on. Let's get this off quick before it burns out. Yeah, totally locked. Look at that. Right, I think they're free. So it wasn't the points then. The wheels actually, yeah, we're off again. Great. There we go. Bugger. Oh well, next time, folks. We'll get it next time. Anybody sick of the noise yet? I am. Just noticed this time the 1361 has uncoupled from its drain as well as stopped on the points. That's new. Yeah, look at that. Maybe I should re-review the 1361 because there's so much about it that I didn't actually cover. Right, go on. We just can't get over points. We just can't do it. Sorry about the rubbish camera work there. I will admit the noise was worse at half speed. We're now at sort of 30, 40. And it's still bad, but it's kind of tolerable now, I suppose. There's the 1361. I'm not even sure where the Mahano engine's gone. Oh, I can hear it. There it is. Oh, 1361's in the way again. It's alright, should move out the way. There you go. Still working. Let's have some ratings then for the frankly gorgeous AliExpress 040. So the level of detail, I've been very generous in giving it 2-star. It's one thing for a loco not to be very detailed, but when a loco has been deliberately designed not to be detailed, yes, I'm looking at the cab, then you have to know something's wrong. Why? Why would they waste the extra plastic to brick up the back of the cab to make it deliberately unrealistic? I don't understand it. Is the motor that hideous? I don't know. Trying didn't think so. So I've given it 2-star. I mean, some of the molded detail was quite nice. That's all I can say about it, really, that's nice. The performance then, I've given 3-star. Obviously, the sound that's coming out of this kind of calls that into question. But besides the ridiculous amount of noise that comes out of the tender, the loco itself runs quite nicely. It's not particularly good at crawling, although it is fairly smooth at the higher speeds. The power is really quite rubbish. I wanted to say another word there, but I didn't. Yeah, 11 coaches, 0.13 newtons of tractive effort. It's not very much. It's actually less than the Hornby Peckett. The mechanism then, I've given 2 stars, again out of pity really. Maybe it only deserved 1. Rubbish motor, no pickups in the tender, rubbish pickups on the loco, no proper bearings, doesn't even have coupling rods. Yes, the mechanism is a bit naff, isn't it? It does seem to be reasonably well designed and put together though, because it works and reasonably well. Besides that, I can't really say anything nice about the mechanism either. The quality, again, I've given it the 2 stars. I will say it's relatively well assembled. The decoration is fairly tidy. Besides that though, it's very poor quality. There's very little metalwork. I believe the chassis is also made of plastic. Ugly parting lines, all moulded detail, very little separately fitted. The details that are separately fitted, the buffers almost come straight back off again because they're clips on and the clips are bad quality, which means that they just fail and come off if you tug at them. The list could go on, but I don't want it to. Value for money at least did seem okay. Now £44 isn't the best for this. I mean, it needed to be a little bit better in order to fully justify £44, but when you think that is a little bit more expensive only than a Hornby Railroad 040 loco, it's not too bad given the fact that it's got a tender with 3 metal axles on it. However, it must be said that the Hornby Railroad pocket rockets do have a degree of quality that this loco sadly misses out on. But yeah, I mean, it's rubbish, but it's not too costly, so I have given it a middle of the road 3-star. Overall then, that is a fairly unfortunate score of 4.73 out of 10. Let's plug that into the logbook. There it is, 53rd, just above the Helgen 1361, because of course it's better than that. And it's below the Bachmann Thanet Flyer. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what I was expecting. Yeah, basically this is what I was expecting. All right, that's that. So, can I recommend this thing? Honestly, for most people, probably not. In some cases, maybe you could justify the price. And if you're interested, I will include an affiliate link in the description so that you can check these out if you want to. But if you want a good looking loco that runs well, I think you can spend £45 or whatever it was almost anywhere else and get a better deal. The Hornby Railroad range has some good offerings on it, which really aren't that much more expensive, but the quality is far better. So yeah, I mean, it's up to you. It could be worse. The performance is okay. You will need ear protection, that is 100% for certain, but provided you're reasonably patient and you actually like the look of this thing, yeah, maybe I could recommend it, but not wholeheartedly. Well, there you go then, folks. I hope you enjoyed that. I do apologise that you've heard the slightly sadistic side of El Cheapo today. I thought I liked cheap trains, but maybe this one went a bit too far, I don't know. Yeah, I think it was just the sound that did it in for me, really. But I hope you enjoyed it. Do let me know down in the comments what you thought. Do you like this thing? Would you buy it in a million years? I'm guessing the answer would be no, but if you would, let me know, and also, more importantly, let me know why. And what happened to you when you were young to make you desire such things? No, in all seriousness, thanks for watching, thanks for your company, and I will see you on the next one. Alright, cheers folks, look after yourselves.